Alright, so we just got all of the stuff after the Woodfall temple that you can do, and now that we have saved, we're going to go back and do some of the remaining stuff in Southern Swamp that does not require the Woodfall temple completed. And most notably, there is the Fearful Spider House. So in this video, we're going to be working our way over there and getting some stuff along the way, and in the next video, we're going to actually tackle that spider house. So to start out with, you want to go to Southern Termina Field and slash the bushes to fill up on arrows. So now that we have the powered up spin attack, we now have further range for our quick spins. This is pretty cool. It allows us to slash up these grass circles very quickly. So to perform a spin attack, or a quick spin rather, you just rotate the analog stick once and press B. It's a little bit tricky, so if you have trouble doing this, you can just kind of rotate the analog stick repeatedly, just kind of keep spinning it around, and then just mash the B button repeatedly, and then that way you'll keep performing spin attacks. So you want to stock up on arrows, and then you want to continue on to the south. So first up on our agenda is the photo contest at the Swamp Tourist Information Center. That's why they gave us the pictograph box a little while ago, so we could participate in the contest. I actually haven't touched it yet, but that's what we're going to go do now. Now the contest is only going on when the swamp is filled with poison, though, which I don't really understand. I suppose that's because they offer the boat rides, so they're using the photo contest as incentive to get people to pay for the boat cruises. Either way, it kind of makes it awkward because then you can only do this like before you complete the temple, so it's kind of annoying. So there are two pictures that you can take that will win the contest. There's the Deku King, so a picture of him, or simply a picture of Tingle. Out of those two options, Tingle is by far less work, and it's a lot easier, and he's a lot more practical. You can find him in several places. At this point in the game, you can find him in either North Clocktown, on Milk Road, which is in the southwest corner of Termina Field, or on the road to Southern Swamp, which is where I'm at now, and it's on the way. You want to shoot him down with either a bubble blast or an arrow, and then aim carefully and snap a shot at him with the pictograph box. You really do want to try and get a good picture, since the game is kind of picky. That's why I recommend shooting him down. You want to get him centered, and make sure you have his whole body in the frame, otherwise it doesn't count. The game doesn't recognize it. Once you've successfully done that, you want to continue on towards Southern Swamp. You want to run over to the owl statue and hit the grass here to get a Deku Stick. We're going to need at least one to get inside the Skulltula house, and we'll be heading over there in a little bit. Next, you want to go ahead and enter the Tourist Information Building and speak with the big guy behind the counter. Now, you could have gotten this piece of heart before we ever entered the Woodfall Temple, but that involves a bit of traveling, and I didn't really want to toss that in there where most people wouldn't expect it. So this way, I'm kind of making sure that most people that are following along with me actually get this piece of heart, rather than half of them being like, I didn't do that. Anyway, also the contest is over when there's no more poison, so we couldn't do that after the temple either. I don't know. Anyway, when you talk to this guy, he vaguely mutters about his son and that he's ashamed of, and if you're observant, you should realize he's referring to Tingle. You want to fork over the picture of his son to surprise him, and he'll be a little abashed and give you the photo contest prize, which is a piece of heart. As I mentioned earlier, you could have taken a picture of the Deku King and bring it to him as well, but that's quite a bit more work, so that's why I did the other option. Next up, we're heading to the Fearful Spider House, and first of all, we're going to need at least 20 rupees. Now, you can run around the side of the building and take a pictograph of the big octo that is guarding the second half of the swamp. You can return to the Tourist Information Building, and you can hand it in for a red rupee. Now, really, there's far better ways to make cash in this game. I'm just showing this off because it's kind of cool, and I bet most of you didn't know you could do this. So in order to complete the Swamp Skulltula house, we're going to need bombs, which you can get by slashing the bushes, or you can simply use the blast mask if you got that with me earlier. So something else that's nice to bring is also arrows. While those are not required, they do make it much easier, so if you're doing this after completing the temple, I recommend you snag some arrows by slashing up bushes as well. Now you also need one Deku Stick. I recommend you slash the bushes near the owl statue here in Southern Swamp, and I already did that. Now we're also going to need an empty bottle, and you should already have that as well. And finally, the last thing we're going to need is 2 magic beans. Since we already learned how to use them from the bean salesman, you can just now wear the Deku mask and speak with the business scrub that is just outside the Tourist Information Building Center here, and purchase them for 10 rupees apiece. So thus, that's why I got the red rupee from the photo contest guys. So now we could get the 2 magic beans we need.
So
once you have gathered everything we need, it's time to head to the southern part of Southern Swamp. There's actually a couple different ways you can get there, though, at this point. Now, the first way is to use the Song of Soaring to get to Woodfall, and steadily work your way along those platforms, etc., killing hip loops and, mad scrubs as you go. And then once you finally get to the north exit, you want to hop down onto the lily pads, and then work your way towards the spider house, which is to the right. The second way is to swim east in the non-poisonous water, and then climb up onto the log with the frog on it. From here, you can put on the Deku mask, and then spin with A just before you touch the water, so that you can spin, or hop further across the water. You want to hop over to the red flowers, and then work your way along them, and kill the Octorok along the way if you want. And at the end, you can shoot the big Octo with an arrow to kill it, because you need something sharp. So this is another option. It's kind of ironic that the big Octo dies in one hit from an arrow, while the Octorok, which is smaller and weaker, dies with 2 hits. It's tougher. Then you want to go ahead and continue and work your way along the lily pads to reach the spider house. Now the third way, which is by far the easiest, is to simply take a pictograph of anything in the swamp. Anything at all, and then just enter the tourist information building and hand in the picture. Even if it's the dumbest picture ever, you will get the option of getting a free boat ride. This is kind of weird, since I thought Kome was in charge of that portion of the tourist information business. She ran the boat cruises, so this option is a little boring, but it's also the fastest and the least amount of work. Once the boat asks you if you would like to disembark, just say yes to get off the boat, and then continue working your way towards the spider house. So that last method, there is actually another way to do that, and that is to save Kome in the Woods Mystery to get a free boat ride, but that's much more in-depth and it's a lot more work. So you can do that, but I'd recommend just taking a picture like I showed, because that's much easier. Whichever way you end up choosing, you want to work your way along the lily pads for the final stretch, and once you reach the island with this building-looking thing on it, you want to use the Deku Stick I told you to get earlier, and light it on the nearby torch. Use it to burn the spider webs that are covering the doorway, and then just join me for the next video where I will show you how to complete the Swamp Skulltula house. Dun dun dun.